It's our 70th birthday combined.
That's 140 years.
No.
My Big Fat Fabulous Life premieres on September 5, and the trailer got some reactions that caused Whitney's dad, Glenn Thor, a lot of pain while he still grieves for Baz. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, My Big Fat Fabulous Life. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Furious, his daughter took trolls head-on via social media and lambasted them for their thoughtless trolling. What's it all about? Read on to find out if Whitney Thor's anger is justified. My Big Fat Fabulous Life trailer revealed the funeral of Glenn's wife. When Babs passed away, the family decided that fans would be allowed to attend. So they generously opened up their privacy because so many people adored Babs. At the time, TLC fans were grateful and amazed that they did such a selfless thing. Actually, quite a lot of people attended the memorial. However, now that MBFFL fans saw the funeral features in season 11, people started trolling Whitney. The My Big Fat Fabulous Life star is not the only cast member who reads comments online. Unfortunately, her dad, Glenn, who people claim to love, also came across nasty comments about allowing the network to film his wife's funeral. Glenn is a supportive character, and he never says a bad word about anyone. So one can only imagine his dismay when he saw the harsh things that fans were saying. My Big Fat Fabulous Life. Whitney is furious on behalf of Glenn. The reactions to the filming of Babs' funeral for the TLC show varied. However, some really nasty comments arrived. Trashing Whitney is all very well, but then it becomes less entertaining when her elderly dad reads those comments. Screenshots of some nasty things arrived via Glenn. Whitney then shared them on her Instagram. He wrote, "I've read some of the comments that are critical of us allowing Babs' funeral to be filmed." He explained, "When I was making the decision to allow her funeral to be filmed, I thought about people like Princess Diana. As an example, he also mentioned Queen Elizabeth's funeral. Like the royals, he felt it was right to set aside his privacy because of the adoring public." My Big Fat Fabulous Life star Whitney jumped on the comments and cautioned her father against reading anything that she didn't share. Then her brother Hunter stood by what his sister had to say about people trolling and upsetting her dad. Talking about the hate, Whitney demanded that people stop and use their brains before they say nasty things that her dad might read. At least they could respect an old man who lost his wife. Whitney Thor slams trolls. In the long caption, the My Big Fat Fabulous Life star went off at trolls. Actually, it sounded reasonable that she should have a rant. After all, people claim to love Babs and her husband, but trolling isn't about love and kindness. In part, Whitney said, "However much you need the hate that you feel toward me to keep you busy, or entertain you, or distract you from your own shitty life, please remember, just for this one instance, that you're talking about my dead mother, and there is a family who reads this. There are humans who are grieving who read this." Additionally, the TLC star pointed out, "Are you sad that Whitney Thor's dad, Glenn, sees such ugly comments while he still grieves for his wife? Do you think it was wrong of them to allow Babs' funeral to be filmed for the show? Let us know in the comments below." Whitney Thor had always been a beacon of positivity and resilience. As the star of My Big Fat Fabulous Life, she opened up her life to the world, sharing her triumphs and struggles with millions of viewers. But being in the public eye often came with unexpected challenges, not just for her, but for her family as well. Her father, Glenn Thor, was no exception. Glenn Thor was a quintessential Southern gentleman, kind, loving, and fiercely protective of his family. He had always supported Whitney's dreams and ambitions, standing by her through thick and thin. However, the increased attention on Whitney's life began to weigh heavily on him, especially when it crossed the line into his personal space. Whitney had noticed her father becoming more anxious over time. He mentioned the occasional encounter with overly enthusiastic fans, but it wasn't until a particularly terrifying incident that Whitney realized just how serious the situation had become. It started with a series of strange phone calls. Glenn would answer the phone to hear nothing but heavy breathing, or, worse, unsettling messages from anonymous callers who claimed to know intimate details about his life. At first, he dismissed them as harmless pranks, but the frequency and intensity of the calls increased, leaving him feeling uneasy. One evening, as Glenn was winding down after a long day, he heard a knock at the door. When he opened it, he was confronted by a group of strangers who had somehow discovered his home address. They were excited and insistent, demanding to know more about Whitney and requesting photos and autographs. Glenn tried to remain calm, but the intrusion into his personal space was deeply unsettling. Shaken by the encounter, Glenn called Whitney to tell her what had happened. Hearing the fear in her father's voice broke Whitney's heart. She had always been aware of the downsides of fame, but she never imagined it would affect her family in such a direct and frightening way. Chapter 3. Confronting the reality. The next day, Whitney drove to her parents' house, determined to address the situation. She found her father sitting on the porch, his usual cheerful demeanor replaced by a look of unease. They sat together, and Glenn recounted the events of the previous evening. "I never thought it would come to this, Whit," Glenn said, his voice trembling slightly. "I'm proud of everything you've accomplished, but I didn't sign up for this kind of attention." Whitney felt a surge of anger and sadness. She hated that her father, who had always been her rock, was now feeling threatened because of her fame. She knew she had to do something to protect him. Whitney decided to address the issue publicly. She took to social media, where she had always maintained an open and honest dialogue with her fans. In a heartfelt post, she explained the situation and pleaded with her followers to respect her family's privacy. "Hey all, I love you all so much and appreciate the support you've shown me over the years. But I need to address something serious. My father, who means the world to me, has been dealing with some scary encounters recently. I understand your excitement and support, but please respect our privacy and don't invade our personal space. My family's safety and peace of mind are my top priority. Thank you for understanding." The response from her fans was overwhelmingly supportive. Many expressed their apologies and reassured Whitney that they respected her boundaries. However, Whitney knew that not everyone would see her message or heed her warning. She needed to take further steps to ensure her family's safety. Whitney and her family decided to enhance their home security. They installed security cameras, upgraded their alarm system, and even considered hiring a security detail for added protection. These measures provided some peace of mind, but the psychological impact of the threats still lingered. Glenn, who had always been outgoing and friendly, became more cautious and reserved. He avoided going out alone and was constantly looking over his shoulder. Whitney could see the toll it was taking on him, and it fueled her determination to find a more permanent solution. Recognizing the emotional strain her father was under, Whitney suggested that they speak to a professional about how to cope with the fear and anxiety the situation had caused. Glenn was hesitant at first, but he eventually agreed, understanding the importance of addressing his feelings head-on. They began seeing a therapist who specialized in dealing with issues related to fame and privacy. Through their sessions, Glenn learned strategies to manage his anxiety and regain a sense of control over his life. Whitney, too, found the sessions helpful, as they provided her with tools to support her father and manage her own stress. While enhancing security and seeking professional help were crucial steps, Whitney realized that part of the solution lay in educating her fans about the boundaries between public admiration and personal invasion. She collaborated with mental health professionals and privacy advocates to create a campaign that highlighted the importance of respecting the privacy of public figures and their families. The campaign included social media posts, videos, and interviews where Whitney and her family shared their experiences. They spoke candidly about the emotional impact of the invasive behavior and emphasized the importance of empathy and respect. Whitney also partnered with platforms and organizations dedicated to online safety and privacy. Together, they developed guidelines and resources for fans on how to engage respectfully with public figures. The campaign aimed to foster a culture of respect and understanding, where admiration did not come at the cost of personal safety. Throughout this challenging time, Whitney found solace in the support of her friends and family. They rallied around her and Glenn, offering their love and assistance. Buddy Bell, Whitney's best friend, was particularly supportive, always ready with a listening ear and practical advice. Whitney's fans, too, played a crucial role in this journey. Many of them reached out with messages of support and understanding.